I feel like the community right now is kind of like, well, they don't really see, like, this is kind of a serious issue, you know? Like, we lost a lot of people over in Iraq and Afghanistan, and for, like, someone to be, you know, posing as people that did that, like, it's just not cool.
Yeah. It's just weird to me. So, hello, YouTube. We are currently having lunch and just catching up on some Airsoft drama that's going on today. Apparently, last night, Bubba Moore, you may be familiar with him, you may not be. He called out someone of the Airsoft community known as Atrox Ivan, or Ivan Atrox. He has said before that he was a ranger, and he's been called out now as being stolen Valor. And so we've been looking into it basically all day, and are now like sitting down to lunch and discussing it, because there's a lot of information and a lot of misinformation out there, it seems like. So we're going through what information we know right now with you to see if we can kind of figure out what's going on.
Well, we have the Bubba Moore video, and then there was an email that was sent to everybody higher ups in the AMS community from Josh Warren, outlining all of the discrepancies of what Ivan is saying versus what can be found as facts. So in that email, there's a couple things. I mean, the most damning evidence was that Bubba Moore brought to light in the video that was posted last night is that nobody in the Ranger community knew who this guy was. Also, his real name, Ivan BAROS or whatever, did not show up on any Ranger school class rosters. So how can you claim you're a Ranger if you've never showed up on a roster? Like rosters are a big thing in the military. Like, I actually had to go back and find some of my old records here from when I was in, and one of the things that I came across was the phoneless roster from my unit. Like, I mean, I don't know if these numbers still work.
So maybe don't show them to everybody.
Yeah. But like, this is a roster of everybody that was in my unit. Like, I could probably call some of them now, and maybe that phone would work. You know? And these...
That would be funny.
Yeah, that would be kind of funny to do. Hey, Ridlon, remember me? It's Del Castillo.
Just making sure this number still works.
Should call my HM1 and be like, just checking in right before Friday, HM1. But along with this, another crucial part that's missing from Ivan's story is that he cannot recall any friends or basically name anybody that he was in with.
Yeah, that's weird to me, especially since Ranger Battalion seems to be a really small community.
Which it is. That's a very small knit group of individuals, and if you're in that group, you're gonna know other people.
Especially if you were in around the same time as other Rangers. So other Rangers they have their own Ranger groups that are private, that are Rangers only. And it was submitted there, and all of them that even served at the same time and the same battalion that he was claiming to have been in have never heard of him.
Right.
Which is pretty weird. And in this email, it says that he doesn't know when he was deployed, what company he was in, what platoon he was in, and I understand from what we've gathered, it looks like he probably was in the military, but we don't know
to what extent. Like, it's like me saying, like,
it's like you said you were a SEAL when you were a corpsman.
Right. How do you not know what platoon or company you're in? Yeah,
that's super weird. Even with any sort of traumatic brain injury, which we do have friends that have traumatic brain injuries from their deployments, and they at least know some basics, most of the basics about their training before they went in.
Yeah, and especially their units. Like, you can talk to any World War II vet, I bet you, who's been through some serious stuff, you know, and he would probably be like, yeah, I remember my unit, like I was I was Echo Company, you know, 2nd Platoon, 1st Squad or something. He'll know. He will know, despite being like a gazillion years old now.
Mm-hmm. I think my biggest thing is you always hope, of course, these things aren't true, because this obviously just makes Airsoft look bad all over again, and we don't need that.
Right.
So we don't want to be like bringing this to light, so that way everyone else that's been like, oh, see, airsofters or posers can come out and be like, yeah. Mm-hmm. Plus, it's someone's integrity that we're attacking right now, and that's something that's super valuable in Airsoft. So I think my biggest thing with this all so far has been he was called out by Rangers. He was asked by other Rangers to give a lot of specifics.
And he could not give those specifics.
And he hasn't since then. It's been a day, and he hasn't responded with even like one person backing him up that he served with.
Yeah,
which is weird to me. I feel like you would be able to find at least one. No matter how busy you are, be like, hey bro, I've got these spurgy Airsoft kids after me. Can you make a post and tear them all up? Like, I see it all the time in like military groups that I'm in. Even though I'm not military, I'm like in other groups.
Also, from the military standpoint, like, you will have a giant paper trail of stuff. I mean, granted, some of us were like, I'm out, F this nonsense, I'm burning it. But most of us kept some paperwork, you know, whether it for be like a resume or something. Like, you hold on to paperwork. So along the lines of what Leah was saying about, like, if someone were to call me out and say Jet never served in the Navy, that's a lie perpetuated by him. I could go to this, you know, there are several people, you know, now that I have their numbers again. I'm Facebook friends with a lot of them still.
Is that Hernandez that I met?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So, you know, without even producing paperwork, I could just call upon people to be like, can you vouch for me? And I have several of them, you know, and there's not one person who can say that they served with Ivan. Like, that is pretty impossible. Anyone who has spent any time in the military will know that you have a deeper camaraderie with those people than you do sometimes with maybe your own family members, because you've gone through some stuff. And then for not a single person to be like, I stood with Ivan,
especially for being on 5 deployments that he's said. Like, for 5 deployments, you should. I would think he would still be in contact.
No, you would know. You would know.
Or you would know how to get a hold of someone that you were on a deployment with.
Yeah, especially in a tight unit like Ranger Regiment. Like, okay, so maybe you're still not fully convinced. Like, no, maybe some stuff happened, and, you know, because he does have a medical discharge of some sort and some other things.
He has a medical discharge, is what has said, and I mean he's missing an eye, so like. But we don't know.
I have no idea where that.
That's hard to argue with. Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
But one of the things that he's said is that the timeline of when he joined the Army and also when he went to Ranger School. What was it? It was like he got in. He's saying that he was a part of Ranger Class 92 or 98 to 02. 98 to 02.
If he was born in 1980, if he started in 1998, in November 16th of 1980, that would have made him 17 when he started Ranger School. And I'm pretty sure...
You can't do that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you have to be 18, right?
You have to be 18 to enlist, and plus, he still hadn't even done boot camp. Like, you can't
and he said that he joined the Army in May 1998.
Yeah, so how do you do Ranger School before you even do boot camp? I'm no Ranger, I wasn't in the Army, but I'm pretty sure that's not a thing. Like,
it says, for your reference, no infantry recruit goes to Ranger School before going to the Ranger Regiment in any battalion. So even if he had started Ranger School after joining the Army, he just mixed that up, he seems not to remember attending RIP, which is now RASP, which is that's like what you go to be a Ranger, right? Like, you can't be a Ranger without having gone to RIP, as far as I know.
It's like the dudes who say, I was a Navy SEAL, then you ask them about boot camp, and they don't talk about boot camp, they just talk about BUDS. Like, it's impossible to go to BUDS without first going to Navy boot camp. Like, you can't do it.
Okay, so you have to be... All infantry recruits who graduate from basic and airborne hope to be assigned to the 75th Ranger Regiment. after 6 months or a year with the regiment, so you have to have been in the regiment for 6 months to a year, assigned to one of the 3 battalions, then you're sent to Ranger School. So Bubba Moore, he was in Ranger Training Brigade. He was also obviously a Ranger, and then he served later in the Ranger Training Brigade. So he's well connected within the Ranger School and the Ranger Training Brigade, and no one there has ever heard of Ivan BAROS Jr., which this is who Aatrox is, right? Ivan BAROS Jr.
Correct. He goes by Aatrox Ivan.
Okay.
Now, no one likes to do this, questioning someone's integrity, but this is something that's not, you shouldn't do this. This is wrong. In fact, this is the second occurrence in recent Airsoft, history, that someone has claimed to be a Ranger. And the first person who did that, some of you old school players will remember this team, Rainbow Airsoft. Rainbow Airsoft was basically a SoCal team, but there was an individual in that group. His name was Todd Ferguson. He went by the name Rainbow Ranger because all their names were like Rainbow something. Yeah, they were good. It was
Rainbow Ranger.
Yeah, they had a couple veterans on their team. Now the story with Todd is that Todd was in the Army. He did serve. He did go on a deployment to Iraq, but he was not a Ranger. He claimed that he was a Ranger to everybody in the Airsoft community, and it came to light that he was lying. Again, it was the same thing. He could not get timelines correct. He didn't know certain specifics about Ranger Regiment, that other Rangers were asking him. And so, Todd basically at one point just said, "Okay, I lied." He broke down and he told everyone in the Airsoft community the truth. He made a big post and he was basically in a nutshell, he said that he had told his parents that he was a Ranger because he wanted them to feel proud of him. In doing so, he just liked that sense of pride that his family bestowed, wow, you're a Ranger, that's amazing.
Yeah, no one's their family. He thinks that and starts telling everybody.
Yeah, so it kind of snowballed from there, probably, and then he just started telling everybody in Airsoft he was a Ranger. Now, most of us in Airsoft will commend you just for serving, Not everybody serves in the military. Just saying you served, that should already be enough respect, from other people, I feel. There's no need to say you're some high-speed dude or whatever. You stood up, you signed your name on that line and said, all right, I'm willing to make I just wrote a blank check to this country that I can pay for with my life to serve.
This is weird for me because I actually don't really know Ivan, and I feel weird kind of talking about someone that I don't know. The only thing that I know about him was when we were at Copperhead, and he was holding the rattlesnake. And he was like, "Oh yeah, they asked me to show you this so you know what it looks like. I've been bit by lots of these." And
several times. I've been bit by these several times.
Yeah, and Bo was like, "Oh my God, you've been bit by that several times?" And he's like, "Well, once." And it was because my dad made me get bit by it. That was literally what he said. My dad made me get bit by a rattlesnake so he would know that I was dangerous. And it was dangerous.
It was in front of a whole room of people that were about to that just took the safety brief for Copperhead 2.5. If you're in that safety brief, comment below what you thought about that craziness.
Because that was weird.
That was really
yeah, I've been bit by this lots of times. Well, once, and it was on purpose.
Yeah.
What the? That was super weird.
Well, apparently none of us know anything about him now because who knows what is real and what is not with this guy.
I just wish that he would address it, and apparently he said that he's not addressing it because he's busier, he's with family in Colorado, and he's busy. And so I understand that family comes first, but when someone is attacking your integrity...
Especially at this high level. This is a very high level.
When you have a lot of Rangers going after you, I feel like you would be like, let me just put this to bed with one quick, easy phone call. Which it should be if you actually were in. Apparently he's had time to message Josh and send him threats, so... if you have time to do that, then go ahead. Would honestly, I would love to be proved wrong. And I don't want to doubt him, honestly, but it's just man, there's a lot of
evidence against you.
There's a lot of evidence against you, man. So it's can you
say something?
Tell somebody what's going on.
Follow the path of Todd. Todd came clean, and everyone was just well, that was crappy of you to do, but at least now we all know, okay, I mean, obviously he left Airsoft shortly after that.
Yeah.
But
even, like, so the only other argument I can see them making is I was on some sort of missions that were some sort of sensitive information, and so that's why it's all blacked out on that's why every relevant information is whited out on my DD-214. There's books now about how we killed Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, you can't use the I was on a secret mission because the bin Laden raid was supposedly a secret mission, and a book was out about it like soon after the raid.
Yeah, there've been.
But I mean, that's the point, though. The point is like it's
super easy to prove all these people wrong. I don't know why you would let it snowball to this point.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that's telling about this to me is I've seen airsofters call out other airsofters before for what they think is stolen valor, and they're just basically operating off of how they think that the military process works. Or what they've seen online. And this is very different because this is specifically only Rangers calling out another person. It's not like this is a collection of other airsofters that are calling out one person. This is very specifically a group of several Rangers. It's not just Josh, it's not just Bubba, but it's several Rangers that are all in these groups. Chris McCoy is another one. He is Cadre for MilSim West. And he also has looked into this and can't find anything about it. So it's like, if there's that many Rangers that are like, this is super fishy, then that would lead us as consumers and people who care about the integrity of this industry to probably be like, hey, bro, want to tell us what's going on so that way maybe we can get this cleared up so we don't all look like tryhards like any more than we already do.
Mm-hmm. It's a bad image for Airsoft for us to harbor, unknowingly.
Yeah.
But until it comes to light, because if it comes to light and we're still like, no, that guy's fine, like that's bad. Bad.
And that's something as like someone like me who has never served, I would have no idea how to even go about calling out someone. And if they were telling me all these things that they say that they did, then I'm like, cool, that's awesome.
You would take it at face value because you're like, I have no reference to say otherwise.
Yeah, I don't know why. And like, especially if you have been deployed and have combat, like why would you even need to upscale that at all? I mean, being in combat is awful enough. I think everyone definitely respects even that you enlisted, much less if you were in so it's just weird to me. I don't know why anyone would do it. I think that's the most of why I'm so mind boggled, is because I'm like, there's no way that this guy could have done this elaborate of a hoax. I would hope not. For an airsoft industry, like in an airsoft capacity. That's just why I'm just like, man, it's so weird. So the other thing that was kind of fishy that I'm seeing this reminding me now, he on his DD-214 that he submitted, it had a lot of stuff whited out and was obviously altered a little bit, which I understand needing to take out like your sensitive information like social security number, etc. But in there, it also showed that he had a bronze star with a V device, which is
for Valor.
Okay, and a bronze star is something that you can only get if you committed heroism in combat, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't show any deployments.
Well, now the other thing about that more is like, how do you earn that? Or maybe he didn't earn it in Ranger Regiment, but I mean, it seems like most of his career is based within.
Well, according to his timeline, he had to have gotten in Ranger Regiment as soon as he enlisted and went to boot camp with a regiment.
Yeah, so like that's the other fishy thing is like you win a bronze star with a V device and no one knows about you. Like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
That's true, because someone would be like, "Dude, you saved my life." Awesome.
Yeah, there was a corpsman that was in my FMSS class that I don't remember any details about this dude really, but I remember from the fleet, I heard someone like, I was somewhere, I was in the barracks or something, and someone was like, hey, do you remember so-and-so from hospital corpsman school? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, yeah, that dude got a Bronze Star because, you know, he got deployed to Afghanistan, his convoy took a bunch of hits, but and they were stuck in this area for like a prolonged amount of time, and he was running up and down the convoy, aiding people as they got hit. So like, how do you earn something to that degree in a small knit community and no one still not know of you?
Yeah. And just not even knowing your company and platoon is crazy. Like, I
feel like we've hit enough.
I think that's most of the points, but again, I'm sure there's something that we could have missed. Let me just give you the highlights from the information that I have. Basically, that are the main red flags from what we have right now. First of all, the dates that he said that he was in Ranger school, that would have meant that he went to Ranger school immediately upon, like, enlisted, went to boot camp.
Like, he signed this thing and they were like, Ranger.
At the age of 17. His MOS does not match claims about his career. His MOS at time of separation from the military was an infantry E8 with no Ranger tab. He claims he has a Ranger tab on his DD-214. Also, 19th SFG Support Battalion does not have any slots for 11B50 Infantry First Sergeant or Master Sergeant because it's a support unit. So his MOS that he's claiming wouldn't have existed in...
Ranger Regiment.
Okay. No schools match his badges, so he has a parachutist badge, a master parachutist badge, a pathfinder badge, an air assault badge, and a ranger tab, but it's not shown anywhere on his DD-214, nor does he have any proof anywhere that he attended any of those schools that we know of. Right now, on his DD-214, he shows the incorrect format for his Valor award. We know a ranger that also has a V device and saw his DD-214, and it doesn't look the same as this other person who's also claiming to be a ranger with a V device. Oh, he has several omissions from his DD-214, like he blocked out his last name. I don't know why that would be relevant to block out.
I feel like that would help your case.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is my...
And there's information coming out now that shows that his father had a DD-214 who has the same name, but his father is senior, while this Ivan, the one we're talking about, is junior. So Ivan Senior was medically discharged from the military in 2005, which is also the exact same time that Junior is saying that he was discharged from the military. So that's kind of weird.
Yeah. So, like, this is my DD-214. There's only two things that I really need to, like, blot out, and it's my social security and my birthday, really. Like, he blacked out his MEPS, like, where he went to MEPS, which is place of entry into active duty.
Oh, he blocked that out?
Yeah, which is, like, you don't need to block that out. Like, who cares? Like, okay, so, for example, mine says San Diego MEPS on it.
Hold up. So that way, like, it says San Diego MEPS right there.
Yeah, so that's not, like, pertinent information, but it's blacked out on his.
Are there any, like, weird places that you go? I don't know. Again, I don't know enough about it, so it's hard for me to say. So altering your DD-214 is kind your DD-214 is kind of weird when you're showing it to someone else who's apparently one of your ranger buddies, right? Mm-hmm. Or should be. So those are the main huge questions that we have right now. So hopefully we'll find out more information as from Ivan, like if he can just like even just a photo of any time during a deployment we have photos of people in like the 90s on disposable cameras on deployments.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just thinking of what he could, like, I just imagine this really bad Photoshop made with MS Paint coming in and being like, here's my proof, guys, I was totally in Afghanistan 5 times, and it's like, what is this? Mm-hmm. I mean, quite honestly, I don't believe, whoa, dog. I don't believe, that he was in Ranger Regiment. He might have spent some time in the military. but there's just too much in question that makes me.
Yeah, it's super weird that he blocked out his first, middle, and last name. Like, he just has...
Because that probably says Ivan BAROS Sr. Maybe. Who knows?
And it's blacked out on all... Like, it's whited out on all of them.
Closing remarks?
It honestly kind of looks like he used his dad's DD-214 and is claiming that it's his. But we don't know. Like, I honestly just wish that he would... whatever comes out, I hope that he is, like, just puts this to bed and is like, look, I served, here's
my actual DD-214 or my actual...
or here's photos of me, here are some of my Ranger buddies that can vouch for me, or here are other buddies that were in the military that could, like, just anybody that can vouch for you that also served with you at the same time, I think would be, like, that would make a huge world of difference, but right now...
There's nothing.
You've been unable to prove that even anyone in the military knows you, which is weird. Because I don't really know that many people that were in the military that have no one else that can vouch for them. Mm-hmm. I know even Greg Wong got called out one time, and he brought an army of people to come vouch for him that he did all these things.
Yep.
And he did that like that. Mm-hmm. It was super easy. And you could do the same thing. It's just do that. Like, if it's really, you don't need airsofters to defend you. Have your military buddies defend you. That's really clear.
If you actually have them. And
this is something that we can't have in our community. This is something that we absolutely cannot support in our community at all whatsoever.
Nope. Most of the veterans that I've been talking to about this in airsoft have been like, no. Like, that guy can't say that. Like, it's not cool. It's just not cool.
Not if you... I can't even begin to imagine how hard it would be to be in some elite unit where you had to watch people you are friends with and are close to die, and then have someone claim to have done the exact same thing that you did. But in order for what? What do you get from that? I don't know.
Free breakfast at Denny's.
You would get that anyway if you're a veteran. Like, if you even went to boot camp, you would get that. Honestly, I just feel terrible for anyone who is a Ranger and has to watch this happen in airsoft, because it's hard enough for us to get people to want to play airsoft that are prior military, and for them to see this, and I'm sure they just want to do terrible things, but they're all very composed.
They just want to badmouth airsoft.
Yeah, so
which sucks, because it's we're all just doing this for fun. Yeah,
and we don't need any more posers in airsoft anymore than we already have.
I'm done eating.
Yeah. All right. That was a fun lunch.
Back to work, everybody.
Yeah. So if you have any sort of inside information on this, or if you know any details that we didn't already cover, comment below. Let me know what you think. We're all going to be following this pretty closely for the next few days, so we'll let you know what we find out in the meantime. Until next time, keep it honest. We'll see you out there. We're going to move to the ditch. We're going to move to this side of the ditch.
203,
ready?
203 the ditch. He's already...
No, the other side.
In there. Cover on 3, 1, 2, 3, cover, go.